I think one thing that I loved about working with John was it felt like he knew everyone. Like going around and, every house we would go visit, it was like, the listing agent was his best friend and they would greet us. They would be like, "Oh, John, hey, great to see you. Who's this couple?" And I think that inspired a ton of confidence, just knowing that like our guy knew everyone. It just felt like we had an in with everyone, just being with John.
Yeah. And I think before we even really started looking for houses, before we even thought about it, we did some research, but we really knew nothing about the process. And so something also really comforting and just, we always felt at home when we talked to John, and he broke down every step of the process, because we didn't really understand what was going on, but he made sure that we were involved in every step and we understood each step, which was really important to us because we didn't want to blindly go into a situation. So that was definitely something we loved about him.
Yeah, super patient. Like I think it was great just feeling like we were in the driver's seat when, obviously he's got opinions, he's got thoughts of what we could and should do, but he really made it feel like we were driving the process and we could go as slow or fast as we wanted and just find what we wanted.
Yeah. And I think also like we eventually found out we didn't really know what we wanted. And I think John in the back of his head probably knew what we wanted, but he didn't tell us. We were able to go, any open house that we want, we're like, okay, let's go to this one. And, he was probably thinking like, oh, maybe we shouldn't go to that. But he never said that. And he let us go to any open house we wanted. And he would just kind of be like, sit there and I'd ask him like, what do you think? And he's like, what do you think? And so I think he really like brought out what we actually wanted. And so by the end of the process, we realized we were actually looking for something completely different than at the beginning. So it was really interesting to be able to go to all these just different types of houses and to have someone who kind of cultivated what we wanted and brought it out of us, which was really a great experience.
Yeah. I love that he was never like pushy with us, it never felt like we were getting taken for a ride or we were going to buy something that was so out of our, what we wanted. It just really felt like he wanted to know what we wanted and help us find it. It was great.
All right, so I think we just talked a little bit about like just it wasn't easy,
Right.
And I think we kind of expected the process, like we're like, okay, in a few months we'll get a house, and we didn't really know what the process would be like, but right now there's so much competition, and we were competing with, cash offers, we were competing with
so many
people,
20, 30 offers.
Yeah, at one time there was like, wasn't like 50 offers,
there was
50 offers. And so like through the process, I think there were a lot of disappointments, and we thought, oh, we're going to be in the running, we're going to get this one, and then we find out, oh, like they're countering this, and actually, there's 20 other people offering, and everyone has a better offer than you. But I think we never kind of gave up just because we knew that that John was always looking for something for us. He knew that our house was coming. And we were so confident in like his ability to fight for us. I think definitely like we weren't discouraged. Like if a bunch of offers, came in, we weren't discouraged. Like, oh, we're out of the race for sure. We're like, okay, how can we position ourselves? And John always, had to think about that. Like, how can we position ourselves? And I think that was just something really important because I feel like he has so much experience and he's worked with most of the realtors before. He knows all the situations that could happen.
Right.
So he's like, let's position ourselves this way. And every time we made an offer, it was like we're making ourselves, a different type of position. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, John was great because he's just done this for so long. He kind of knows all the tricks. Like that's, one of the things we didn't want to pick somebody who was just fresh off the boat, their first time trying to sell us a house because they're, maybe our age or something. We loved John because he just knew all of the ways we could go about it and then would help us pick the best way. So when it came to positioning us to get something, we just felt like we had total trust that he, knew what he was doing, knew the best way he could possibly help us win.
Yeah, and I think also something that just comes to mind is he was such like a fatherly figure through this whole process, which I think was just really beautiful because I feel like there were so many disappointments and there were so many times where we're like, should we just stop looking? But I think he was so encouraging and he was just like always very uplifting, which is definitely something that like I was really thankful for in the process.